explain a little bit about the VA benefits that are available for veterans and their families, especially related to the home care realm?
Absolutely. Well, once again, thank you for having me. My name is Shira Tyner. I am the National Director of Marketing for Veteran Care Services, and we specialize in veteran benefit planning and care coordination for seniors across the country. In my role with Veteran Care Services, I do a lot of presentations about what is out there for veterans because there are lots of resources for families that they're unaware about. So I always say, how do you apply for benefits that you don't even know exist? You can't do it. So when you think of the VA, most people think it's just one big umbrella, the VA. And if they call one of the 1-800 numbers, they're going to get all the answers. But what we see is it is a complex system through the VA. And what people don't realize is you have your VA medical, where folks can call, make an appointment, see their doctors, get their prescriptions. But then you also have the VA pensions department. And most people don't go to the VA pensions department, nor will they meet any representatives from the VA pensions department out in the field. And we find that families have a lot of trouble navigating what options and benefits are out there. And some of the benefits are actually combinable. So just because you're not eligible for VA pension doesn't mean you can't get VA medical and vice versa. So the VA benefits through the VA medical would include like home care hours through VA accredited agencies. Now, some home care agencies are having trouble now getting in to the VA system, and then others are kind of grandfathered in already. But there are home care benefits that the VA will pay for the clients to receive the home care. And in that case, if they are a VA accredited agency, they would send their clients to the VA to see the doctors. They get evaluated, they get a prescription for home care, and then they can request to use that agency as the provider. The agency would send the bill to the VA. The VA pays the bill directly, and the veteran never sees the bill. Now, what we see in that case is a lot of times there are veterans that are not getting enough hours through the VA. So if they wanted to purchase additional hours, there are other benefits that could help them offset that cost. Now, those are benefits that come from the VA pensions department. And primarily, we're talking about the aid and attendance. So through aid and attendance, it's actually not only just for veterans, it's for their spouses and widows of veterans as well. And there is a whole list of things that go into an application. But with my company, we do a full comprehensive financial care plan for veterans that include navigating all of these resources that are available to them and placing them together to maximize the resources for the family.
And in my experience, I'm sure you'll agree, 9 out of 10 veterans are completely unaware that their benefits even cover home care services. And that's why it's so important for all the people answering the phones to actually ask that question, even if you're speaking with a spouse, just to try to turn over every stone so we can take advantage of every little bit that counts to help them towards their care.
It's a very important question because a spouse or a widow of a veteran is also eligible to receive benefits that will pay for the home care. And most of the time they get overlooked. And a majority of our clients are women that their husbands may have passed away 20 years ago, but they're still eligible to receive their benefits because of the service. And again, how do you apply for a benefit you don't even know exists? So that's why I really appreciate doing things like this.
So, Sharon, why don't you tell us about what the eligibility requirements are for veterans, their spouses?
Yeah, absolutely. So through the VA medical, there's less requirements. You really just have to have that need for assistance with daily living. You need to make an appointment. You go to VA medical and they will link you with a VA accredited agency. Now, through the pensions department, there are specific requirements, including dates of service. A veteran has to have 90 days of consecutive active service with 1 day during wartime, but combat is not required. So it doesn't matter where they served as long as they have that 1 day of service during wartime listed on their DD 214, which is their service papers, to be qualified based on the service. Again, it's through the aid and attendance pension, which is not a new benefit. It's been around since the 1950s. And that's the one that's available to wartime veterans, their spouses, and widows of wartime veterans who are over 65 and need assistance with daily living. And once they do get an approval for this benefit, they will receive a monthly pension to pay for the home care services that's in addition to their current income. So their current income doesn't necessarily matter if they're paying out of pocket for care. The VA sees this as a reimbursement. So if, let's say, a veteran has a $5,000 a month income, right away they're going to assume I'm not eligible to receive the pension. Now, for a married veteran, the pension amount is $2,795 a month additional income. So, in addition to their Social Security, in addition to what they're receiving, to pay for the home care services. But if they call the VA directly or they look it up online, they may say, oh, $5,000 a month in income, you're not eligible. But the question really is how much are you paying for home care? Because if you're paying $5,000 a month for home care services, you can deduct every dollar spent on that against your income to where your income is now zero. So if you're spending that amount, you will get that $2,795 back to help offset that cost of care. And everyone's different. Everyone's income and expenses are different. And that's why we're here to kind of guide them through to say, okay, well, maybe if you increase your home care by $1,200 a month, you're now eligible to get $2,795 a month back. So we finesse that piece in order so families will get an approval for this pension. So that's the married benefit rate, $2,795 a month for a married veteran. A single veteran or a widower would get $2,358 a month additional income. A spouse would get $1,851 a month additional income. And a widow of a veteran would get $1,515 a month. Again, it's tax-free in addition to your current income. Once you're approved for the rest of your life. You never have to reapply, and you will see an automatic increase every January with cost of living. So that benefit rate will go up for them. So again, first and foremost, the service requirement is what we look at. 90 days of service, 1 day during a war. Combat is not required. The second requirement is they have to have the need for assistance with daily living. But if they're going and calling for a home care agency, we can rest assured they need that assistance. So that would be the second qualification. And last but not least, it's finding that right balance for the finances. They can own a home. Their home is 100% exempt, so it does not matter the value of their home. The VA will look at their liquid assets, their stocks, bonds, annuities, bank accounts. Those need to be under 160,000, not including the home, in order to be eligible to receive that additional monthly income. So if someone has over that amount, I always say it's never a bad thing to have too much money, but it gives them a little bit of assurance that, okay, now we're spending down mom or dad's funds. Once they get to 160,000, we know we're going to kick in that extra $32,000 a year of pension to really prolong the life of that savings, hopefully for the rest of their life.
And that's why it's so important to have these conversations with you, just to figure out what they're eligible for and access these benefits. And I'm sure it makes it a lot more affordable to get home care assistance, and it
Absolutely.
improves patient retention as well, no?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So if you have a client, we all know our clients are getting the care that they can afford, not the care that they need. So I'm sure any home care agency that's listening, they say, well, they can only afford 3 hours a day, twice a week. First of all, how do we staff that? It's really
Right.
challenging. But second of all, that's not going to do it. They need more services. They just can't afford them. So now with these additional resources, they can really get their clients the care that they need. And hopefully they don't get worse and have to go into a community or go into a nursing home, because now they're having that adequate care because they have the funding to pay for the services.
This is all
And
great information, Shira.
it's for the rest of their life. So the longevity of that client will be there because that check is coming every month to cover the cost of the home care.
And it's so vital for us as their advocates to really just inform them of all of this so they can look into it and just see what they're eligible for. So, why don't you just tell everybody how they could go about partnering with you to make sure that their clients are taking advantage of all these benefits?
Sure. Well, I'm very accessible. I always say you can get me by text, by email, by Facebook, by LinkedIn, smoke signals, whatever works for you. My phone's, on my hip 24/7. I never clock out. I'm always on call. And I really do build relationships with all of the people we work with. This isn't a one time thing. Once you work with veteran care services and see the benefits to your clients and to your business, we build that relationship for long term. So I can give out my email address, my phone number, whatever it is. And then I'm happy to build that line of communication with the home care agency, the owner, the director, and just talk about the clients that they have. I have literature that we can send out to you. So if you want to put something in the welcome packet to kind of say there's an added benefit that may help you be able to afford your home care services, we can do that. But really, it's reach out to me. Let's have a conversation. And then I'm happy to review all of the clients that you have on services. I always say it's great for new business to offer veteran benefits as part of your package because people are calling, they're pricing around. And like, let's say the cost of a live-in caregiver is, 400 in one agency, 375 on the other. People tend to say, well, let me save a little bit of money. But that agency that says, well, it's $400 a day for the live-in, but we can get you $2,700 a month off, that's going to stick. So for new business, it's great. Veteran, spouse, widow of a veteran, there's money to be had.
And this is why I've always had you on speed dial. Well, Shira, I really appreciate everything you've done for the clients that I've worked with over the last decade. And I know that you could be a significant resource for anyone out there listening, and especially with July right around the corner, 4th of July coming up. Keep your veterans in mind and give Shira a call if there's anything she can do to support your veterans.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks for joining me, Shira.